What up, what up, what up? Football fans all over the world. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan here. Well, my guy, the Super Dope co-host, and Costas. And before you dig into that slice of turkey this week, dig into the NFC real deal, NFC East. Round up. Punch that intro, baby. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC's Roundup, coming to y'all at a little bit earlier time this week, man, because obviously the holidays, brings family in town, and we got things to do, man. Shit, we got lives too outside of this shit. We got lives to live. So, how you feeling today, man?
I can't. I mean, after that intro, before you take a slice into your turkey, you take a slice of that Real Deal. I almost died, man. That was so good, so good. Well done. I'm having a good time. There's football in the docket. We got games tomorrow, an NFC East game tomorrow. We're gonna cover it all today.
Absolutely. We got NFC East game tomorrow. We got NFC East game on Friday. We got NFC East on Sunday night. We got NFC East on Monday night, baby. We got it popping this week in the NFC East, man.
Too bad the division ain't popping.
Too bad the division ain't popping, but it is what it is, man. Let's dig into it, man. Let's get right to Sunday night football, man. Not Sunday afternoon football. It was Sunday afternoon, the game of the week, Sunday afternoon, 4:30 window, man. Eagles, Cowboys, man. We knew it was going to be a heavyweight title fight, man. We knew it was going to be kind of a big one. Big for the Cowboys. Not so much big for the Eagles, but big for the Cowboys. And the Cowboys responded exactly the way you would like to see a team that's fighting for their playoff lives, man. What you think about this football game, man?
I have to disagree. I think it's a big one for the Eagles because, they're trying to fight for the number one seed, and the way that they're struggling, they could use it. But this game was everything that it lived up to. Actually, it's funny that you bring this game up because I'm watching the game and it's 21-0. So I'm flipping channels. I'm like, man, the Eagles are going to run away with this. The Cowboys look like they got nobody. Then I'm like 21-7 at the half. I'm like, all right, tune in. I'm tuning into the third quarter. And then it becomes 21-14. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is actually going to be better. And then, it gets to 21-21 after the Xavier Gibson fumble. And, of course, the defense on both sides step up. But most of the Cowboy defense steps up. Remember, Cowboys gave up 21 points. They shut the Eagles out in the second half completely. They did not get any points at all. And the Eagles did most of their scoring in the first half, and they missed a big field goal at the first half of the game, which proved crucial down the stretch. You never know when these points will come into play, but they obviously did at the end of the game because guess what? They lost by 3. And I thought, to me, it was a carbon copy of the first game, just minus the CeeDee Lamb egregious drops, although he had drops all over the place. And I was telling somebody on the phone today, I think it was AK, I said, CeeDee Lamb was over there yelling at Dak Prescott to get the ball out in front of him. I'm like, how about you catch the damn ball? All right, he put the ball in your breadbasket and you dropped it. And you have the audacity to run over to your sideline bitching and moaning about your quarterback throwing you the ball. How about you get on the judging machine and not drop it? You lucky you didn't cost your team a game. And how about that George Pickens? Okay, this is what you go out there and you get him for. You go out there for these big games. You didn't have a big game week 1, right? But week 2, he put the team on his back. He said, you know what, CD, you're not doing your thing? Don't worry, I got this. And the second half of the game, the Cowboys, like you said, looked like they were playing for their playoff lives. Their defense came alive, causing turnovers, fumbles. Barkley had a rare turnover that we rarely see, and that cost him, right? Xavier Gibson on that huge hit. You want to talk about hustle, right? They featured that kid on the replay, and they said, watch this kid go down. He got knocked over 3 or 4 times and still made the play. That's what you call heart. That's what you call people buying in, and that's why the Cowboys, I'm not going to try to wait till you hear my prediction this Thursday, because for their game this Thursday, I'm going to go on a limb here because of what I saw on Sunday. I do believe their defense is starting to come together. I love what Keenan Williams was doing. I loved how Keenan Williams helped open up Odighi Azua, who had a huge game. And then Kenny Clark, we forgot about him, but when you put Keenan Williams next to Kenny Clark, he also gets opened up. Their pass rush, they're starting to get healthy with Azariki and Dante Fowler coming back. Their back end is starting to gel, and they really did shut out the Eagles in the second half. And I thought it was pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, let me start. When I first said, the big game for the not much for the Eagles, only because from a record standpoint, the Eagles are still they're going to the playoffs. There's nothing stopping them from going to the playoffs other than an absolute epic collapse the rest of the season, which I don't. That's not going to happen. But that's what I meant. I mean, I just meant for the Cowboys right now, sustainability for the Cowboys right now. The Eagles they're going to the postseason. I don't think that that's actually an issue. But that's not what bothered me with the Eagles. The Eagles is, but you're right. Maybe I shouldn't have glossed over so much because it was a big game for the Eagles because of the status of the NFC conference, the way things are stacking up. Teams like the Rams, the Bears, like I talked about, the Bears. You know what I mean? The way things are stacking up in the NFC conference right now.
Seeding's
I'm going to get back on it. I'm going to get back on it. Yeah, seeding's going to matter, but the Eagles' offense is going to matter as well. And here's the problem. Here is my problem with this Eagles offense. You go up 21-0 against the Dallas Cowboys in the first half of this football game on Sunday. 21-0. And it should have been. But then you find a way to not only lose, not great. I get it. The Cowboys offense is a very capable offense, explosive, and it's capable of scoring the 21 points they did to get back into the game. But the fact that you never had a response to even put any more points on the board is just absolutely ridiculous to me. The fact that I'm looking at this stat line right now and see that Saquon Barkley, you with a 21-point lead, Philadelphia Eagle offense, Saquon Barkley only has 10 carries on the day. 10 carries on the day. And you had a 21-point lead at some point in this game. When you had a 21-point lead, Saquon's carry should have ballooned. Tank Bigsby had 1 carry in this game. These guys should have been you should have been leaning on those guys. Once you built a 21-point lead. And the fact that you finished this game with only 18 carries as a team and 7 of them were from your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, that's egregious offense to me. It's egregious offense. And this Eagle team better figure something out with this offense. Because A.J. Brown, he showed up on Sunday, had one of his better games of the season this year on the year so far, 8 catches, 110 yards. And Devontae Smith had a really good game, another good game as well. But this whole Saquon Barkley thing, you're not getting him going all season. I mean, it's been bad. He had better years with the Giants, all his years with the Giants than he's having right now this year. I feel like this has just been a really bad season for him as far as getting running game going with him. And like I said, this was a perfect opportunity to do it in this game when you built that big lead and to just eat away at the clock. Like I said, it's not even just him. Like I said, the fact Tank Bigsby, who's been pretty productive for you as well, is only had 1 carry on the day. So what are we doing here? Like, how does a game like this, does Jalen Hurts have 39 pass attempts in a game like this, the way this game played out in the first half? Explain to me how he got to 39 pass attempts. Well, I guess, yeah, because at the end, when the Cowboys kept putting the points on the board, I guess you got a little desperate and was trying to call yourself keeping up. And you just, like you said, the Cowboys defense rose to the occasion. They stepped up. Got to give you a kudos, a shout out once again to your guy, George Pickens. This guy has been absolutely just lights out. I mean, at the last month of this season, I mean, if it wasn't for a guy out in Seattle named Jackson Smith and Jigma, I think we're looking at, man, George Pickens is maybe the best receiver in the league over the course of the last month of the season.
Well, I would rival that he's had more of an impact on his team than Jigma. I think Jigma's there because solely he has nobody over there. He has Cooper Kupp, but he's the sole guy. You have CeeDee Lamb here, and this guy overtook CeeDee Lamb. And maybe I'm just biased because I like George Pickens. I do respect what Jigma is doing. I'm not trying to say he's not, but to me, George Pickens, the Cowboys don't win the game without George Pickens last week. Period. There's nothing you could say.
Well, no, they don't. They don't. Yeah, I agree with that. They absolutely don't. CeeDee Lamb. Let me talk about CeeDee Lamb, man. 4 catches, 75 yards. Okay, that part sounds not so bad. 75 yards. Give me 75 yards on 4 catches. Here's the problem, CeeDee Lamb. You were targeted 11 times. You were targeted 11 times, and you had a few big drops, buddy. You had a few big ones, and they don't pay you to put the ball on the ground, CeeDee Lamb. I get it. It's going to happen occasionally. It's going to happen here and there, but it's been happening far too often with you this season, man. It's been happening far too often this season, which and you're too good of a talent for this thing to continue to happen. And like you said, it's a good thing they got a guy like George Pickens that was been there to be able to bail you out, because you're a Pickens stat line: 9 catches, 146 yards, a touchdown. Guess how many times Pickens was targeted?
10.
9 times.
He caught all his targets.
So he caught every pass thrown in his direction that was actually a catchable ball that could count as a catchable football. He caught everything. That's what you want out of your number one guy. And I know Pickens is a number one talent type of guy anyway. Let's keep it real. But CeeDee Lamb, man, you got to do better than that, man. 4 catches on 11 targets is just absolutely egregious, man. That's not what you want out your number one receiver, man.
I'm a little disappointed in him because of 2 things. One, he's supposed to be a number one, like you've always argued with me. He's not a number one. He's showing you right now that if you put a better talent like Pickens, he isn't rising to the occasion, which is a little nerve-wracking to me. The second thing I want to talk about is you had 2 drops. You had like crucial drops in the first game. You have crucial drops in this game. The fact that you're mentally locked in to this game because if I'm CeeDee Lamb, I'm looking at that coach all week. Say, give me the ball, coach. Give me the ball, coach. Give me the damn ball, coach. I'm Keyshawn Johnson and that shit up and down all week when this game's coming up because of what I remember in week 1. And instead of doing that, you come out and have a performance that rivaled just the one you had there. This time, though, a guy named George Pickens helped bail you out. And so did Kevontae Turpin with his big runs and things like that. Guys bailed you out, all right? Dak Prescott threw the ball all over the yard. Looked good, too, doing it, right? But you need to be the focal point. And if the Cowboys want to make some serious noise on this run, I can't have you show up occasionally. You need to be number one. And games like this should be motivating games. You know, I don't know what Pickens is motivated. I'm probably motivated by millions right now because right now the dollar signs keep going up and up and up with this guy from when he becomes a free agent next year if they decide to franchise tag him. But when they pay you, that's in your breadbasket. There is nobody to blame on that but you. Nobody. I don't want you to go back. I want you pounding your chest, looking at Dak Prescott saying, I got you. That was on me. That is horrible. Okay, I don't want you sitting over there bitching and moaning about a pass where it could be, should be, or wasn't. Okay, I don't have time for that. He put it in your radius. You know what happened when I played football and the coach told me when I was a receiver? It's if it's in your catch radius, you got to make the catch, regardless of how the ball comes out of your hand. If the ball's low, but I can put my hands on it, I should be able to catch it. That ball was in your breadbasket in the end zone, and you dropped it. I don't care about your hands, huh?
I say right there, right between the 2-8, right between the 8s.
And you're mad because it's not out in front of you? Are you kidding me? What is this, Burger King? You have to have the pass made your way? Like, we don't got time for that. You're going down a fucking playoff stretch, a playoff run. And you had the audacity to be yelling on the sideline at your quarterback for not putting in the spot that you wanted. I'm sorry, Mr. Baseball player, Mr. Home Run hitter, Mr. whatever you want to call it, diva. Like, it's not catch the damn ball. You're paid to do that. There are guys that are crappier than you making that catch as routine every week. And you're lucky it didn't cost you the game this week. Because what would have the excuses been then? We wouldn't have seen you on the we're going to see you on Monday with your shirt off with the jokes machine. Yeah, great optics. Okay, I'm sorry to get on my soapbox about this, but I know that if I was in his position, there's no way I'm having a worse game or having 3 drops against the Eagles. No way. I'm making a point to dance all over that team because I got embarrassed and humiliated on national TV.
I mean, and not to mention, this was the 4:30 window. This is the game of the week after the afternoon on Sunday afternoon. I mean, it's almost as big as a primetime game. This is the game most people probably were pretty much tuned into in that late window on Sunday, because that late window wasn't necessarily an impressive late window. So they were locked in to this one for the most part. So and this thing with George Pickens, man, I gotta say, man, every week he is making it himself more and more expensive. And the Cowboys, it would be in their best interest to find a way to retain this young man. But he may be too pricey, man. I don't know what your thoughts are. He's playing himself to a point where he may be too damn expensive for the Cowboys to retain, considering the money they've already invested in CD Lamb and what they've got invested in Dak Prescott. And I mean, I know these money guys, they got ways of moving things, doing whatever they do. Yeah, they got ways of doing things. Yeah, they can, but I don't. You think George Pickens is playing on a franchise tag? I don't know, man.
I don't think he would play on the franchise tag, but I think the Cowboys would be best to put the franchise tag on him and then negotiate the deal that way. Because at least you retain his rights, right? And if somebody wants him, you're getting 2 fucking first rounders for that guy, right? But I believe that if you believe in the system, you still have your quarterback within his prime years. You just saw what George Pickens did. Pickens is not going to sign a deal right now. He's going to be like, "Fuck you, Jerry." You know, you should have did that shit. You should have did that shit at the beginning of the year. But now, you know, you're out of my fucking price range. He's going to probably get paid more than CD Lamb, to be honest with you. And I don't blame him. He's younger than CD Lamb. He's actually, to me, a better receiver than CD Lamb because he offers more physically. Meaning, did you see the tackles he was running through? Okay, he ran.
I just love the way he competes for the football. He just goes up there and competes strong, big, strong hands. He's impressive.
Everything. He breaks fucking tackles. He's got an attitude and an edge that he plays with. Some people call it crazy. I call it fucking. That's what you need when you're out there. T.O. had an edge. I love fucking T.O. He was that guy. He had that edge. Okay, and that's what Pickens plays with. CD Lamb, on the other hand, doesn't play with that same edge, doesn't play with that same mentality. He plays like, I'm good, I'm better than everybody out here, but I don't have the edge that Pickens has. I'm not going to compete with the ball if it looks like I'm going to get my head knocked off. Pickens doesn't care. He's like, oh, you want that? Let me stretch and get that one for you. Let me dive and do this one for you. Let me, run down the field and break 3 tackles on a spin move to get a first down for you.
No, now that you brought that up too about George Pickens, that's something I noticed with him like a season ago when he was still in Pittsburgh. Like I felt like he started to lose his desire a little bit out there, a little bit, kind of. You know what I mean? Like the passion was kind of fading away a little bit.
The ball. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. We now know exactly what the issue was there. We obviously know as Giant fans fully what the issue was now, for sure. I definitely got a hard lesson in it at this past, as I just refuse to listen to all you guys tell me how cooked Russell Wilson was. But George Pickens truly has that fire's burning again, man. And his passion is back for this game. He looks like that guy that got drafted out of Georgia again. Once again, man, dude, he is an absolute dog out there.
They love playing for this guy. They love. I don't know what it is about Brian Schottenheimer. I didn't think it was going to be a complete disaster. But talking to people who had Brian Schottenheimer as a coach, they were like, "Oh, he's not impressive." Blah blah blah. Right? And I'm like, I'll give the guy a chance. Whatever. This guy knows how to be a head coach. Now, I'm not trying to say anything because I know Mike Shula is out there. And a lot of people are, linking him to the New York team, and he was already, I don't know, I don't want to put him out there though, but he understands what they're playing for him, and his offense is spectacular. And we knew that Eberflus was a competent defensive coordinator once they got pieces, and now that they have pieces, I don't know how good their defense is going to be, but they sure are better than they were week 1. They sure are better than they were week 2, and they're good enough. Dare I say, I'm going to be a spoiler because I can't hold it. I think they're going to beat the fucking Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday. I'm telling you that right now. What I saw this Sunday and their defense, they are capable of handling an offense with lesser talent than Kansas City. Okay? If they can do that and still score at their clip that they score, this Cowboy team could be dangerous going down the stretch.
Well, we will see. We're going to definitely deep dive into that in a little bit more later on in the show. But if you have any more final thoughts before we wrap this up, the Eagles-Cowboys matchup?
The one last thing I want to say is I think Eberflus needs some credit for putting this defense together so quickly with all the new pieces and them coming out and really buying in. That Cowboy team was flying around like I haven't seen them fly around in years. They look like they have a renewed sense of energy. And by the way, last thing I'll say, the Cowboys are 21-2 with Dak Prescott at the helm. And let me touch on him real quick, because I feel like people hate on Dak Prescott, and I don't understand the reason. All the guy does is put up numbers, move your team down the field, and just play good football mostly every week. There are some down games, some up games, but He outplayed Jalen Hurts. He's been playing at damn near MVP level, every week. But this is the NFL. We know that every week can't be an MVP like week. But I got to give kudos to that guy. And he's made me a believer in Dak. For a guy in 10 years ago who was like, this guy is nothing, to now watching the game, studying him, looking at him, seeing what he's doing every year, to appreciating, man, he's better than I thought. And he's really handling his business, and I think he leads the Cowboys in passing yards, and he just broke that record this weekend. So just wanted to say hats off to Dak Prescott.
And before I wrap up, to close, this is to the Eagles. Message to the Eagles. You got number 26 in your backfield. The man ran over for 1,000 yards. Ran for 2,000 yards a season ago. And had it not been for him sitting out the last game of the season, could have set the single season record. And yet, you just seem like he's just a forgotten man in your offensive game plan. I just don't. When I'm just looking at this stat line. It is just mind blowing that in the game in which you guys Eagles were up 21-0 at one point in this game, that Saquon Barkley only managed to have 10 carries in a game in which you guys were up at 21-0 at one point. To me, nothing about that makes sense. That's like a stat line for a running back on a team that was down 21 points, and now you're just back passing every damn time because you're just trying to get back in the game. That's what that looks like. It looks like the complete opposite of what the situation was. So I don't know what's going on. The Eagles offensive coordinator, whoever this guy, I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name right now offhand, but it doesn't matter. He's got to get his life together, man. You got to do better because it's just too much talent on that offense for it to just look so broken and so dysfunctional at times. Like, you play that great first half of football, and then the second half you can't score a point. It's not even the first time you've been shut out in the second half. Even the New York Giants shut you out in the second half the first time we played them. I mean, this is just weird with the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I don't understand it this season with this team, but like I said, when you get into the postseason and everybody you're playing is good, that's not going to cut it. I'm sorry. It's just not going to cut it. So, figure it out, Philly, because like I said, this is – I think we were talking about you guys, being a legitimate dynasty, which is still possible. Don't get twisted. I mean, things could turn in an instant in this league. We've seen lots of Eagles all of a sudden lights come on, and all of a sudden now they're just blowing everybody away. But they need to show some signs of it, because right now I think it's a lot of just really up and coming teams. I mean, you got the Rams, you got the Bears. Seattle is still forced to reckon with. San Fran ain't going nowhere. You got Green Bay is still hanging around in there. Detroit is a team that you still got to worry about. And now this Dallas Cowboy team is starting to play some really good football. It's coming around. They go out there, like you said, on Thursday and take care of the business Thursday. They're going to be another one of those teams you got to account for and worry about too coming down the stretch of the season. It's going to be interesting. Eagles got to get their life together offensively, especially, man, because I feel like it's been a weird season for this team offensively. I'm sorry, I don't know any other way to put it. It's just been a weird year. But just I'm not mad in a sense, because this is the Eagles. I don't care about whether they have success or not. But unfortunately, for just the talking points on this show, it's been disappointing watching this team all function offensively. I think most weeks, honestly, because not even, like I said, this is almost a similar story almost every game. I mean, they haven't really put together that great offensive game all year. I can't remember the rest of all their games offhand right now, but it's just been kind of weird. You know what I mean? Watching this team work and function, man. So I don't know. They just got to do better. But that's all I got here with these guys, man. Let's talk about let's get with the Sunday afternoon 1:00 window. There's only 2 games this past weekend. Giants and the Lions. Giants up to Detroit. And this went like every other New York Giant game. What's going on, Mosley? Good to see you, brother. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving too, man.
Same to you.
But this game went like every other Giants game, guys. The same way they've been going. Offense, been kind of fun, exciting. It's fun to watch. You get flea flickers. You get the touchdown pass to Jameis Winston. You're in the fourth quarter. You got a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter, and just like the New York Giants do, y'all blew it again. Adam, thoughts, man?
Well, it's hard. It's a hard rinse and repeat. That's what I said to somebody. That's why I texted somebody. Rinse and repeat. Fire the coach, same results, right? And I can't even be angry anymore, because the reason I can't be angry anymore is because I'm tired of wasting my energy on losers. This team's a bunch of losers. That's what they are. I'm sorry to say this to people. And I'm about to name some of your favorite players on this team as losers. That's what they are. You know, we can't, and everyone wants to blame the coach because obviously the coach got fired. The point I wanted to make about the Eagles also works here. Sometimes the head coach is to blame for some of the shit that goes on the field. You can't just exonerate people by just firing them and just thinking that this is it. Devon Holland, you paid a fucking fuck ton of money to. You're telling me he can't make a fucking tackle? He can't take a proper angle? Are you kidding me? That's on coaching? No, that's football 101, bro. You see the running back, you go get the running back. Okay? That's what you do. I don't care what the defense is called. He puts you in a position, you go make the damn play. That's what they paid you for. Sometimes you got to be above the X's and O's. Jamar Gibbs had 15 carries for 215 yards and a walk-off touchdown, or would-be walk-off touchdown. Okay? I knew when the Giants didn't get the touchdown on 4th and 3, Mike Kafka. Okay? Why are you not taking the points? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand why common sense is not in football anymore and why analytics play a part. I understand you want to go up, but worst case scenario, you're giving them the ball at the 90 and you're hoping your defense is there. But at that point, you know your defense can't stop a nosebleed, and all they have to do is get in the fucking field goal range, right? Well, guess what? If you score a field goal, you have to force them to score a touchdown, and maybe the Lions, who had struggled all fucking game in the passing game to drop back pass, they did not do well. Why not give it and put it onto your defense, right? Why not roll that dice? At least you would have been smart. Instead, you missed the 4th and 3. You give a team go down the field, who, by the way, you're only playing half the field. Why do I keep telling you people? This is the age of kickers. You only have to play 50 yards now. 50 fucking yards. That guy kicked a 59-yard field goal, and he would have made it from 60. Okay? He would have made it from fucking 60. And getting back to Holland and head coaching. A delay of game on defense? A delay of game on defense? You had the team stop. See, these are things that a football team that's going through it does. They don't know when the money is on the line what to fucking do. You know, play it safe. Play it aggressively. If I play aggressively, what's going to happen? This is the type of shit that happens. And I blame you, Mike Kafka, for putting your defense in that fucking position to begin with. You kick the field goal and you force them to go down the field. Force them to win the game in regulation. And it turns out they had to kick a field goal because your defense did just enough to get them in there. Do I know if they would have won the game? I don't know, but I would have taken that fucking chance. You didn't even you hung your team out to dry. And on top of that we're giving too much excuses to the coach, to the players. Oh, well, we fired Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen's not out there making a tackle. Jamar Gibbs had 3 runs. The same fucking play 3 times. The same play 3 times. And you think you would have hit it with the ones when they go 40 yards, you'd be able to block it, do it again. They hit you with 3 plays, the same thing. And at one point, he was touched. At one point, the guy was touched, and he fucking stiff-armed you all the way to the end zone.
Yeah. Well, look. There's a lot to go around. Like, Mike Kafka, look. Because I think that when it comes to that play call right there, there's both. You can look at both sides, and I kind of see the argument both ways. Clearly, yeah, take the points. Take the points because it just from a sensible football standpoint, at that point, sensibly, it would have made sense to just take those points, go up by 6, and force them to have to score. Drive the field to score a actual touchdown. It's a lot harder when you know that you got to absolutely put the ball in the end zone. It's a lot more pressure on the team, and it's a lot harder to deal with. But at the same time, from the other side of that standpoint, I feel like there's also the fact that he knows what this defense has done 4 other times, what he's watched this defense do 4 other times this year, and he watched this football team go, squander those leads. And he's like, I have no trust in this defense whatsoever. And the offense had been playing well. The offense had been moving the ball very efficiently against the Detroit Lions, and it wasn't really out of the realm that they weren't going to be able to put the ball in the end zone there. Unfortunately, they were not able to. And
But how
and it
about the
just
overtime then? How about the overtime? Because the overtime, he went out there. First off, I don't know why Russell Wilson's getting the coin toss. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But whatever. They sent his dumb ass out there to go say, we want the ball. And then he's like, we're going to kick it. Why would you kick the ball? You know that your weakness is defense. And you're going to put those guys out there after just getting gassed all the way down the field. You're going to be like, okay, now we're going to fucking kick the ball off like you're outsmarting the Detroit Lions, and then in one play they go down and score a touchdown. I thought that was also a rookie move.
I'm gonna tell you why I thought that was dumb, a dumb move, because I don't think it was. I think it was done for a really different reason. Because after the explanation about why Dexter Lawrence wasn't on the field on that key play anyway, the explanation we got, which was a bullshit explanation, as bullshit as you can get. But when they the fact that because most teams actually win the coin toss and do elect to play defense first because you want to see what you need to do, maybe if you might have to need. But at the end of the day, if they knew the way they were playing, this was this rotational bullshit they were talking about, and that was the time where Dex was supposed to be off the field, or they were trying to have him more ready for the pass rush downs or more and give him a break on first downs and whatnot. That's bullshit. I don't always agree with everything Carl Banks says. He's a little bit controversial at times, but he said something after this that I agree with. When you're in these situations in football games, you got your best players on the damn field. It ain't no rotation no more. Now you got your best out there. Your best. Your absolute best. There ain't no damn rotation at this point in football games. Now you have your best guys out there. And I'm not guaranteeing if Dex was out there on that play, the same damn thing wouldn't have happened. But it's a more likely chance that it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? You got a better chance that it would. You got a better chance that it wouldn't have happened if he's out there. So
they ran right to his side. He's out the game. They were like, "Oh, we're going to run right there," and that's what they did.
And so that's the part that bothered me. If you knew that was the part where you felt like Dex needed maybe a little more of a blow, wasn't quite ready to be back on the field quite yet, then maybe you say, yeah, let's go out there and let's go put the pressure on them, our offense put the pressure on them and put some points up on this board and make them match or make them figure it out. You know what I mean? But no, that's not how that. It's like, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'll say that's why the Giants. That's where the failure is to me. Like I said, I don't honestly think Kafka these 2 weeks interim, he hadn't done a terrible job, but he's had his miscues as well. He's had his little breakdowns as well. And I don't, like I said, I'm not saying this to make some kind of pitch for Kafka. I'm just saying I don't think honestly. I think the team does seem to be responding better to him from what I've just seen. The way I'm watching them play, they seem to be even on the defensive side of the ball, because even though they're still breaking down in the fourth quarter in the critical moments, they played better football throughout the majority of the games than what we were seeing through most of the season as well. So I mean, this is just a mess. This whole thing's a mess. That's why the whole thing needs to be torn down.
Exactly. But you bring me to that point. Look, I think to me, I thought he had the job at the beginning of the Detroit game. After the Detroit game, he's lost the job. The explanation of Dexter Lawrence, he lost the job for me, right? And then the Twitter battle going on with Jermaine Illuminor calling out Aiden Hutchinson, on Twitter, and then a guy who does breakdowns for the Giants and Giant website basically goes, the guy had 6 tackles, four tackles for loss and the game-winning sack. I don't think that was, being shut out. And it's like, this is the type of bullshit we're talking about. You're losing and you're talking shit on Twitter to a guy who clearly had a good game, but you don't want to acknowledge that, right? This is what I'm saying. People were arguing with me the other day about the Cam Scattermoo stuff and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're not getting it. When you're 2-10, everything matters. You've got to understand your optics. You've got to understand what things look like. When guys are fighting with people on Twitter, it's a bad look. Okay? Malik Neighbors deleting the tweet. Who do you think told him to do that? Jermaine Illuminor getting called out and calling out Aiden Hutchinson. Like, you lost the game, bro. Just keep it moving. Keep it pushing. Had you won the game, sit there, puff your chest, and be like, look what I did with Aiden Hutchinson. And then we could have said, whatever, man, we beat you. Well, you didn't. You lost. And this is the type of mental fortitude I'm talking about. And this is why I agree with you. 100% blow it up. I think a regular coach coming in here could make this offense hum with the talent they got. I think the regular defensive coordinator coming in here will make this defense hum. I think this team this coaching staff has infighting. There's rumors now about, the DC being picked and why they didn't choose this guy, and it's just to me a very messy situation, and it's getting messier by the week as the weeks go on, right? And as the things carry on, and I can't look at Mike Kafka as you're starting at zero, because you're not. You know, he's been here for 4 years. Okay, like he's part of the issue, right? They're playing better now because the guy in front of them is gone, but I still see breakdowns. I still see mistakes. I still see crucial moments in the games where the Holland play, the delay of game. What are you doing there?
That's just stupid. That was just stupid.
Right.
That was just stupid shit.
And I'm just saying, like, that's the type of shit that undisciplined teams do. They don't understand the situational football. And that's what this team doesn't understand. Situational football. And I'm sorry. If Kafka had won, I'd be like, you know what, the Giants are probably gonna, make this guy the coach. But he lost, and there are too many critical mistakes that he made that maybe I'm being overly critical about, but they're like common sense mistakes. I understand what you're saying with the aggressive nature at 4th and 3. I understand it. But in hindsight, you take the 3 points and you just you make them have to beat you going down the field, right? Because at the worst, I'd rather not get this game tied and do what the Giants did, right? Go into overtime. Because if once it hit overtime, I knew the game was over. I knew the game was over at 4th and 3. I said, this team is going to go down here and figure out a way to either put it in the end zone or tie this game up. And they did exactly that. And once they got into overtime, they looked at the Giants like, oh, we're going to get it again. And what I mean by taking the ball, look at the Lions did. The Lions forced us to have to score a touchdown because they didn't go down and score a field goal. You gave them one play. And what did it do? It had to force you to be in passing situations where their defense had the advantage now. Their defense could do more things because they knew that you had to pass the football. And so this is what I'm talking about when I talk about coaching. That's a moment that mattered. It doesn't matter to me if you went 3 and out. You would have had the ball, a chance to have the ball. You would have had a chance for Dexter Lawrence to get checked out. You would have had a lot more things happen that maybe could have gotten you to a victory that now people are forgetting about because you fired Shane Bowen. I'm not forgetting about him. I'm not looking at that. That was a crucial moment in the game and a thought process that didn't make sense to me, regardless of what happened. You put the pressure on them to have to go down and score a touchdown and match you. Because guess what? If they kick a field goal, you win the game, right? If you kick a field goal and they kick a field goal, the game still goes on. So if you go down and score a touchdown, guess what? Now you got to go match. That's what the Giants had to do. They had to go match and score a touchdown. Did you think that they were going to score that touchdown? I didn't. I knew here we go again. And what happened? A lollipop pass, a couple of, batted down balls, a few penalties on the Lions, and next thing you know, Jameis Winston sack, and the game is over, right? And I just thought those crucial moments, and there was also one in the first half where they were leading, and they did like there was a 3rd and 1, they ran the ball twice, and they didn't get it, and they had to punt, and I'm like, well, you're 3rd and 1, and you're gonna run the ball up the back, pass it, who cares at that point, right? Try to do something. So I just thought, even though the trick plays worked and we had some success, there are a lot of things that I can't overlook with Mike Kafka that I need to watch going forward.
I mean, yeah, I'm not considering Robert Saleh. I think he's not. I can't mess with that. I can't mess with that. Dude was a disaster as a head coach. I think he was a disaster. He needs to stick to his coordinating defenses and call it a day, man. But
I don't know how I feel about him.
I don't. To me, a lot of the shit with the Jets was a him problem, and I can't get behind that as a head coach, man. He's a good defensive mind, good defensive coordinator. He needs to stick. That's his wheelhouse. He needs to stick with that. I think he's not a. To me, I know the Jets are a shit show of a franchise, but I just don't see a head coaching him, man. What I saw from him with the Jets was a lot of things that were his problems. Some of the things we're talking about with our coaching staff is what I saw with Robert Saleh as well. And I just can't believe in that, staying behind him as a viable head coaching candidate. But I got sidetracked off of that real quick. But as far as this, who were we talking about? We were talking about the. Sorry, I got completely sidetracked.
And whether or not he would stay and things like that. Like I'm not giving this team a pass regardless on anything. And one thing I want to mention is I was in a space with somebody, and they were talking about moral victories and like, oh, well, look at this guy played well. And like, no, we lost. This is why we have loser mentality, because we look at like, hey, look, we lost the game, but we put up 27 points. That's not what I want to hear. I don't want to hear that anymore. Okay?
Well, no. One thing I want to talk about with that on that aspect, to piggyback off of that a little bit, is because what you like you said a couple weeks ago, you take these last X amount of games, and this is an evaluation period, and I think that's all I'm gauging. That's what I'm looking at. Like win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. I'm not cheering for us to lose, right. But at the end of the day, I also know that winning doesn't help us, considering rather have that number 2 overall or even number 1 overall draft pick. You know what I mean? I'd rather have that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm not out there like, yeah, let's lose, guys, lose. I'm not cheering for the other team. No.
Now that we have dark. Now that we have,
like, I'm not going to be mad if we win a football game. At the same time, it just does nothing for us right now, considering it's another lost season.
Well,
but what I do when I say evaluate what you got, like I said, when we talk about the evaluation, you brought this up a couple weeks ago. Like I said, evaluate the talent you got. I look at a guy over the course of the last month that I've seen viable improvement from, like legitimate improvement, and unfortunately, his improvement is going to the wayside because we can't finish football games off, and that's Theo Johnson. I got to bring it up. We were very hard on Theo Johnson earlier part of the season with the drops and the whatnot. He has made a lot of key catches over the course of the last few weeks, man. Key, significant catches in games at crucial times. I mean, that big catch down the sideline on Sunday afternoon at one point to keep it drive alive. Right after Bellinger drop, which probably might have been a touchdown if Bellinger didn't drop that shit. You know what I mean? At the very next play, Winston comes out and hits Theo Johnson on a very tough catch down the sideline. I mean, he goes up there, high points the ball on the sideline, keeps his toes in bounds, and he's been doing that for the last couple of weeks, making those very tough grabs. And it's something that's sticking out on tape, because now you're looking like potentially a legitimate number 1 tight end guy. You look like that kind of guy you can depend on in the offense to rely on, and she's been showing me that, a guy like that. I mean, I think with Wan'Dale Robinson, you get what you get. You get a game like this every once in a while. You get the other games, you know what I mean, that you get. He's just a guy. That's what he is. I mean, he's not a legitimate number 1 receiver, but right now he's our number 1 receiver. He definitely looked like that on Sunday. You know? He definitely looked like that on Sunday. Oh, he's the best wide receiver on the team currently right now. That's healthy and playing. I mean,
Hodgins.
I mean, I think he's the best guy on the field. I think he can do a little more than Hodgins overall, and so I think that makes him more kind of that better guy. Hodgins has been clutch these last 2 weeks though. That touchdown was amazing in the end zone, and that kind of is also like, how do you have a guy like this that was here part of this team a season ago or 2 seasons, last couple of seasons? He was here. I didn't realize he was even here in the summertime, but And you let guys like that slip through the thing, and we got people like Jalen Hyde on the roster that do nothing, that does nothing, contributes nothing viable to this football team, nothing of value.
Touchdowns. Then Hyde in the whole season, he comes in 2 games, has a touchdown. Hyde's been here for what, 11?
So it's just, to me, this is the failure with the regime. Is things, those details like that are the failure with this regime. I mean, like I said, so I'm looking at that. I want to see through these last 5 games, who are the guys this New York Giant team can continue to move forward with. They're not all going to be all-stars, but who are at least the viable pieces that you guys can move forward. Because if you tell me you got Malik Neighbors, and we go out there and get a dog and maybe another first round talent at wide receiver next year, and have 2 legitimate like options on the outside, and give me Wan'Dale on the slot, I think I'm taking that. You know what I mean? I'm going to take that. I'll be okay with that. You know, I think I'll be good with that as my
that's my number 4. I'll be good with that.
Yeah, if those are my guys, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? And then even with the running back situation, Tracy, healthy Cam Scatterboo, whoever else you throw in the mix, whether it be Devin Singletary again or somebody else, that's a solid committee. It's not none of them necessarily stand out as an individual RB1 necessarily, but they're a solid committee, and you can still move forward. That doesn't make that position a priority. You know what I mean? There's so much other holes in this team. The secondary. Oh, that secondary is disgusting. Secondary is, I mean, they played overall pretty damn good considering on Sunday, considering the receiver talent, the quality of receivers they were going against, and I will give them that. But this secondary needs an overhaul back there on the back end of this defense. I mean, the fact that All right, without Tay Banks out there this week, and we know he's not really very good in the secondary. That they played probably one of their better games anyway without him.
I think he's going to
Goes. I think that goes to tell you everything you need to know about him. Like I said, but the thing is, when I say guys and what they do and give you value, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, and people think I'm crazy, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy because I know you are. You're going to think I'm fucking nuts for saying this. But with Tay Banks, man, I did it a few years ago. He was your first round draft pick. You know, the guy that you picked to be your number one cornerback for the future for your team. Clearly, that's not what he is. That's not working out. At least not here in New York. It's not working out. But if you're going to keep this guy around, at least put him to where he gives you value. And it seems like he gives you a little value on the special teams. So at the end of the day, I know that's not what you want out of a first round pick. You don't pick guys in the first round to play special teams. But at this point, you know, that's where he seems to provide the most value at.
But he lost his job. He lost that job too. He lost that job. He's on the bench. He had the job for 2 weeks. Now he's on the bench injured. And I don't
well, he was injured, yeah. So I don't. He just wasn't active on Sunday, but still, I mean, what's going on, no Mets?
I don't think. Yeah, but he wasn't active. But I don't think you're going to see him anymore. I think they're going to kind of phase him out. Like, okay, Tay, you know, stay over here.
They can do that too, but they need to make an option decision on people like that.
And Jalen Hyatt, right? They're just phasing those guys out. You know, those guys aren't part of the team. Like, my goodness, get him out of here. And what irks me about Hodgins is like, all right, you had Bo Collins here. You thought Bo Collins was better than Isaiah Hodgins. You thought many other people were better than Isaiah Hodgins. If you brought that guy in, what would his numbers be with Dart already, right? We even haven't seen this kid play with Dart. We've seen him 2 games, and in 2 games, he's made an impact, okay? And it makes me wonder, why are we going to keep Joe Shane when these are some of the gaps that you define a GM by, okay? You can't just define them by picking Malik Neighbors. You got to define them by the roster construction right now. You look at our linebacking core, we got nobody in there. We're getting fucking bums off the street.
We lose one every week. We lose one every week.
Flanagan Fowles, some other guy named Brady. I'm like, who the hell are these bums?
We don't even have Flanagan Fowles no more. He got fucked up on Sunday with his neck or something.
So now we had Shane Bozeman. Like, what the are we doing? Like, this team is bereft of, and this is why when I was looking at Joe Shane, you got a linebacker breaks his leg in game 1, and you go sign a cornerback. You know, a receiver blows out his knee in week 3, and you go get a fucking O lineman. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, what are you? Do you see the problem that you have? Like, in older times, I used to love getting these undrafted free agents back in the day. Remember David Patton? David Patton was a guy that came up and played special teams and made it on the team and eventually was there because they just took a chance on the guys that were young. You have these guys that you bring in here on the practice squad, and you're not even giving them chances. You had a guy like Hodgins out there that you could have had for the taking, and you're just not playing. You're not playing. Like Evan Neal doesn't get a fucking shirt.
The thing that bothers me about Hodgins is, you know what he can do. You know what he meant to this team in 2022 during the playoff season. You knew what he meant to this football team. He was a key component of that offense to keep. I mean, he had a huge game against Minnesota in that playoff game. A huge game. Huge game.
And right, he's doing what Slayton can do. Am I giving Wendell credit? I'm not giving credit for him, man. I mean, give me credit on George. You give me credit on George Pickens, who should be here. And Wandale Robinson, he had a good game, but he got shut out in the second half. He had all his yards in the first half. And in the second half, he was nowhere to be found.
He had like 2 catches in the second half. Yeah, I think he
was nowhere to be found in the second half.
But could that also be what good coaches do, and that's called adjusting to what the fuck is going on? But I think he got a lot different coverage probably in the second half of that football game as well.
Well, that's what I told somebody. I said the Lions busted the coverage with the safety that wasn't in there. They had Carl Joseph. So the first touchdown, had a busted coverage. Now, I'm not saying he would have not made the catch. It was a good play. Do I think he had a good game? He had a good game. But in the second half, when we needed him the most, he didn't come through. So we'll see, man. I don't think we should sign him to a big deal. Other people are happy about him, but he's got to now show me in this next game, again, be that eater, be out there. If he goes in this next game against the Patriots and doesn't do anything, I can't have you be a streaky player like that. You know what I mean? Be consistent. and make big plays in the game at the end. So we'll see, man. I'm not a huge fan of his, so it's hard for me to really say. But
Yeah, I forgot that play he was wide open. James would do a really bad ball there. He was wide open, and he would have been able to turn up and get a lot of yak on. He would have been able to turn up and get a lot of yak on that too.
one.
It was like in the fourth quarter, I believe. He was coming across on a crosser.
Are you talking about the one where he dove and he missed?
Yeah, he dove, but I mean, if Winston would have put that ball on him, he would have been able to turn up.
Winston. So there was some pressure on Winston. They didn't have a good game plan for him. Really, I thought the Giants got most of their yards through their trick plays and a lot of things, but overall, I thought it was good offensive performance by Winston. I like him. He's a funny guy. I'm glad he's a backup. I don't know if he's playing himself on another team. I don't want to let him go, but I can't say to his representatives as they go out and say, listen, he's played well these games. He's throwing these touchdown passes. Tennessee needs a quarterback. XYZ team needs a quarterback. I'm not saying don't get rid of him, but if somebody offers you a third-round pick for James Winston, you might have to say, you know what? James,
you got to take that. You got to take that deal.
I'm just saying, like, you look at the Vikings, right? A team that needs a quarterback in the offseason, and they say to you, like, look, we have a team that's good defense, solid offense, but we need somebody that can be a facilitator and do it. I think I can help with James Winston. I'll give you this third-round pick, this complement of the comp picks that you get now, right? You trade that for James Winston if he plays. I mean, he may not play next week. But to me, and I love that he's a backup quarterback, but he showed me that he could still start in this league, right? I mean,
he's playing better than some starters around the league right now.
He outplayed Jared Goff. I mean, let's be real. He outplayed Jared Goff.
You think New Orleans wouldn't love to have Winston on there as their quarterback right now? I think they would love to have Winston as their quarterback right now. Cleveland would still love to have his guy around. Cincinnati. I mean, Joe Flacco ain't been doing that bad. He's been holding it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Prior to, let's just
okay, I got you. Yeah.
And then like you said, the Browns, I mean, I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders, had a good game. Looking like an NFL quarterback. Who would have thought, Mac? But
what do we know?
I guess we don't know anything, right? But the point is that there's a lot of teams that I feel like he was getting calls in this offseason for guys that went down. This year, he has a small cap hit and $4 million. Somebody comes calling, don't be afraid to give him a chance and let him try to do one more run as a starter. That's just me. I thought
it's a possibility because he's played well. He's put 2 weeks of good film, 2 weeks of good tape up right now. And but I think, this is what I mean about figuring out who you need to go forward with, because the regime already clearly failed the whole season by having Winston the third string emergency quarterback when he's clearly better than Russell Wilson at this stage of his career. Clearly better. I mean, the offense is night and day.
He should have been the starter. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, Russell Wilson out there, it's been a nightmare every time he's been on the field other than that Dallas game. It has been a nightmare. But Winston, this offense looks almost still equally as functional as it was with Jackson Dart. It's not like they're still putting the points on the board. They're still driving the ball, scoring. It's still fun to look at. It wasn't nothing fun about watching Russell Wilson. Nothing at all fun. I mean, when Russell Wilson would come into the game, he would get booed. I felt embarrassed for him that he came out there for the coin toss on Sunday. I felt embarrassed. That's the only way you're getting on the field is to come out here for a fucking coin toss in overtime, bro. Like they don't even cut the camera to the sideline and show you on the sideline anymore during the game. Like I forget that he's even out there. Like he's just so insignificant.
He has his helmet on now. Like you're not going in. You're not going in. Like, they rather put the punter out there before they put you out there, buddy. Like, give me look. Russell Wilson highlight for the Giants. The one highlight game, the Dallas game. He had that great moon ball in the preseason, the Bo Collins. I told you, I thought it was bad when they didn't make it an open competition. Obviously, you hear now that it wasn't really a Dable decision. It was more of a upper management decision, which to me that. Let me go off on a tangent real quick about the tangent, but still within the Giant realm. If you weren't going to let this guy control his team in Brian Dable and allow him to pick whoever it was a starting quarterback, and you're forcing players on him to play, then you should have fired the guy to begin with and brought on a new guy that you could have done this to. Because you can't tell a guy, by the way, you have to win, but you're going to play Russell Wilson, who's cooked because we paid him fucking $10 million. Even though your rookie quarterback and your third string quarterback outplayed him in the preseason. And I even told everyone that. I showed you that. I said, look at the offense when it comes in. Well, it's preseason. Look at how much juice they had, right? Like sometimes you got to look at the operation itself and not the result of what happens, right? And the operation for those two guys was a lot different than when Russell came in. Even in the preseason snaps, I knew it was different. When watching the practice, I knew it was different. That's why when I said this kid needs to start, it wasn't because I was trying to, make my point about Dart. It was like, I'm seeing this guy outplay him, right? And now you're knowing that Winston outplayed him, which you saw in the preseason. We all agreed that when Winston came here, it would have been fun if he was a starter. You went out and got Russell Wilson, and the results were bad. I remember people telling me, oh, it wasn't him in Pittsburgh. It was, it was Pittsburgh falling off. Well, it was him. And sometimes when you listen and you do the research and you're talking to people, like I don't always get my information secondhand. I go to people's spaces. I listen to, read some of the articles that they put out and see what some of their fan base is saying to find out like, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't him. And I talk to some football guys that I know that are like watching the game and they're bouncing opinions like, hey, you think of this? And I'm like, oh, okay, that is kind of true. Right? Or this guy said this from ESPN, and you kind of aggregate the information, and you're like, oh, well, I understand the O-line, but he was washed up. And you should have known that and let that guy pick his quarterback. You didn't, and it sabotaged his season and then the rest of the season. And then, of course, on defense, you should have fired that guy last year too, and we would have respected you, but you didn't. So I think this whole mess with the Giants is like you said, I don't need moral victories. I'm like you right now. I want to see who's going to be. I'm like Bill Parcells in '83. Who's going to be my team in 1984? Who are the guys that I'm going to, not have to worry about filling that position or that backup role? Like Chauncey Golston, that guy looks like a bust. I'll give him some time because, he's coming off a neck injury, but he's not really making an impact, right? You have Bobby Okereke probably gone, right, next year. You got guys like, McFadden, who I would love to be seeing right now because I would love to be like, is that guy – do I pay that guy next year? Because clearly he was a solid player for us. And then guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, who don't get me started with him. But my point is, I'm not worried about wins or losses. I don't care about winning the game for next year. Somebody also brought that up. Well, win the game, and then, you need to win one for Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence because it'll boost them around next year. I'm like, first off, you don't even know if the regime's going to be here next year. And don't give me this bullshit about winning a game at the end of the year because we did in 2022. We went to the playoffs and came out week fucking 1 and got the doors blown off, okay? And then the week after that, we won a couple games at the end of the year, and then we came out against Minnesota and got the doors blown off. Like, what are we talking about? Don't tell me about this every year, winning a game at the end of the year. Just go out there, evaluate your talent. Let's see if you can salvage some wins. And to me, at the end of this, it doesn't matter if Mike Kafka runs the table. I need a new coach in here, a new regime, somebody that's going to push back on the regime at the top. If you're keeping Joe Shane, I need a guy in here that's going to be like, no, I want to run it this way, right? I can't have any more. I can't, because even right now, Kafka's getting pushed around. Oh, you got to keep fucking Shane Bone for 2 weeks. Oh, you got to play this guy. Oh, I need you to make this guy the defensive coordinator. I see it right now. I don't want that guy. I need somebody that's going to come in here and right the ship entirely.
Well, like I said, I don't want to be too hard on the Cavaliers. I think he's been overall decent in interim, and all things considered, in an interim situation the last couple of weeks. He's been decent. Like I said, I do like the response he's getting from the team. But no, I'm not. Like I said, I think it's an absolute long shot, and I think that shit probably has officially probably sailed, even though he's made, the moves of like firing Shane Bowen and naming Winston the starting quarterback or the backup quarterback, and those to me are moves that dumbass Dable was too stupid to understand that he needed to make sooner. You know what I mean? So at least he's done that, and it didn't take him as long to do it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I said, it's a long. Everybody knew it was going to be a long shot to retain him, regardless if he. And there's no way a guy's going to stick around. And people, because I've heard people even say, "Well, we got to find a way to keep him on the staff, at least some kind of way." At this point now, he's only staying on the staff as the head coach, guys. Let's face it. I mean, come on. He's not going to stick around here now for like just some random quarterback position coach or whatever position, or some position coach or even a coordinator. Still, at this point now, it's head coach or bust, and he's just not going to be the guy. I mean, let's just face it. I mean,
this works for him in many ways. If he gets fired, right, he has head coaching experience now for the last 9 games. He can go to another team, be their offensive coordinator, reestablish himself, that he can create offenses and do all that shit. And in a year or two, he can now really get a job because he'll have that head coaching experience. He can explain to him what he's learned from being a Giant head coach and all that stuff. Like, I think this is going to be a better test for him to get a job somewhere else and say, let me go, go to, like, I don't know, let's just say Miami and be an assistant head coach to Mike McDaniel and call the offense or something like that, where you can reestablish your value. Because if I'm him, I want to get the stench of Dable off me, right? Because right now, you're associated, no matter what, you're associated with Dable. Dable's fired. It doesn't bode well for you guys, regardless of what happens. Not many interns become the coach next year. How many times? Antonio Pierce, how'd that work out? Jeff Saturday was the interim. It was terrible. Like, I'm not saying that if he doesn't run the table now, which I think he's going to win 3 out of the next 4 games to end the year. I think he'll lose to Dallas. I think they'll lose to New England, and I think they'll win the 3 against Washington, Minnesota, and the Raiders. You're still 6-11, 7-10. You didn't make the playoffs. You could have done that with Brian Dable. Like, what are we talking about, right? So that's just my take on it. I know I'm hard on him, but I'm hard on him for a reason, because I want people to understand, like, he is part of the problem. Don't just give him a clean slate because he wins a few games at the end of the year.
I mean, I'm with you. Like I said, I just think this whole thing needs to. You gotta do something. You really can't take the team serious if you're rolling these guys back out next year. This regime, the whole regime, it was a fail. They failed, point blank and period. So you can't be taken seriously if you're really going to roll these guys back out there, man. So let's move on, man. We've been kind of we deep dived in that a little bit there, but let's talk about these previews for this week. We got 4 games this weekend coming up. We'll just, I guess, run them from the back, run them backwards to forward, man. We're on the Giants right now. We'll finish up with the Giants, New England Patriots on we'll be playing the Patriots on Monday night. Last primetime game of the season for the Giants, thank God. And Patriots, man, this is what we want to be. Look, New England Patriots are just as bad as we were a season ago. Enter Mike Vrabel. Look at this team cruising in the AFC East, getting ready to dethrone the Buffalo Bills potentially at the top of as a division champs in the AFC East, man. What's your thoughts on this Monday night matchup? Jackson Dart looking like he's going to probably be cleared and probably going to be ready to go on Monday night.
It's going to be a tough game in Foxborough. A cold one, a cold night. I don't know how I feel about Dart starting. I don't know to me personally, I would probably sit him until after the bye, personally, because I don't want to mess with a concussion and a cold night and things like that. I'm not saying put him in bubble wrap, but concussions are serious things. And I rather think of the future of this team than just trying to, salvage a game. And Winston's done enough for me to be like, I can trust him in this game. But I think it's going to be a little bit more surprising than people think. A lot of people think the Giants are going to win because New England's due, and I have the opposite opinion. I think New England is going to try to keep marching because they still have teams that are going to be nipping at their heels if they lose. Remember, they're 10-2 with games left on the docket with the Buffalo Bills and a few other teams, right? They could easily end up like 12-4, 12-5, if they're not careful, and you don't want one of those losses to be to the Giants, and you're like, oh man, we have to win these games. These are games that we want to, these are games if you're a Patriots team, these are games you need to win, right? If you want to believe that you're a good team, these are the games you're going to need to win. Regardless of the record, this team is down in the dumps. If the thing that gets me though is, and the reason why I'm leaning towards the Patriots is their coaching staff is Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, and they guys who've been there, done that, and will have this team ready to go, right? And I understand that people believe in your fans, and I guess you can believe that way. And I'm not saying that I'm rooting for them to lose. I just think it's going to be a tall task to ask to go into a hostile environment with a team that's humming. I know they have injuries, but you've got coaches that understand that. Vrabel's been around the block. It's not like a first-time head coach that may not know how prosperity. Now, I could be wrong, and the Giants have competed with the best of them, I guess you could say, and have done their job. But I just think, and in the end, the Patriots will be just a little bit too much for the Giants this week, and they're going to continue their march.
Well, yeah, I think what I'm looking at right now, like I said, I just can't do it. I can't pick the Giants to win football games because they don't know how to win football games. I mean, clearly they go out there and they compete. So, yes, it's good. They jumped over that hurdle from a season ago. They compete offensively. They score points. They're fun to watch. Fun offense to watch. They've been a fun offense to watch for the most part. But they can't close out football games. I don't see why this should be any different. They'll probably go out there to be competitive. They'll compete. They'll go, toe to toe with the Patriots. It's a better football team than them right now, currently. And they'll go toe to toe with the Patriots. And I think they're going to do what they do best: is drop the damn ball and lose a game, because that's what they do. And we don't know anything else right now. Sure, I think the New York Giants are capable of beating anybody in this damn league the way they played all season. They're capable of beating anybody but they just don't know how to. They don't know how to beat anybody. And that's the problem with this football team. And I cannot pick them to win a football game because they don't know how to win. And here, like you said, if Dart starts for winning, it doesn't matter, though, because that's not the reason why we're losing. We're not losing because of any kind of deficiencies on the offense. We're losing because of the defense,
right,
week in and week out. That's why we're losing football games.
Dart's been pretty good in every game he's played. We've lost two. We've lost all of them except two. The game he played against the Chargers, and I forget what the other one was. Who else? Oh, the Eagles. The Eagle game, right? So I get what we're saying. I get Dart, but you also got to think, like, we got to look at overall what we think a good team should be. When I had a team that had double-digit wins, I did not, trap game. You cannot call it. You don't want to call this a trap. I know they have a big game past us, right? But I don't think this team is not going to be prepared. They're gritty. They're tough. They're going to know the assignment. The fact that the Giants put up 27 points and took the Lions to overtime is going to, open the eyes of the Patriots to be like, oh, this is not like the Browns that we're playing with Dylan Gabriel over here that can't do anything on offense. They can do stuff on offense. Now, what I'm worried about is defensively. Like, I don't know what tweaks you can make on a short week. I just don't. I'm sorry. Like, this guy's coming in on the unit that stinks, right? Defense. What is he going to now implement? You bring the rush. Now you got one-on-one with Stephon Diggs against our shaky corners, right? Like, so it's a lot of stuff that just in this game doesn't make sense, doesn't jive with me. And if they lose, then they'll be able to lick their wounds going into the bye week and figure it out against Washington at that point. So, but I just think they don't match up well with this New England team.
I mean, we're gonna find out. I mean, like I said, I think this team, they showed me that they can go out there. They'll compete with anybody, but they don't know how to win games. They don't know how to close the deal. They don't know how to finish it off, point blank and period. Until they show me they can do that, I can't pick them to win, man, because they should have won on Sunday. They should have won last Sunday. They should have won the Sunday before that. I mean, they don't know how to win football games. This team don't know how to win football games.
Crucial drop here, fumble there. Yeah. Right? Like Nomad says, yeah, but Dart is going to overcome the defense. But can he overcome the deficiencies of sometimes his guys? When Theo Johnson drops the ball, when Rondo Robinson doesn't make a catch, right? When the defense actually on the other side makes a play or gets a turnover. Like, those are the type of things that you may not be able to overcome. It takes one play to get the ball back for the pay. Look what happened in the Cowboy game. They were leading and then they punted and then boom, Xavier Gibson fumbles, and now the Cowboys are back in business, tying the game up, right? So, these teams have hung around a lot. It's almost weird. Like, these teams, like, kind of let the Giants do what they want, and then in the fourth quarter, they just pour it on. It's been bizarre to watch some of these games. You're like, how good? The defense is looking great. Meanwhile, the defense not looking that great, but somehow they're still leading in the game. You're like, well, what's happening here? And then in the fourth quarter, they have these meltdowns mentally, like these mental breakdowns that just cost you football games. So But it's tough for me to pick a team that's 2-11 that's eliminated from the playoffs. Excuse me, 2-10 that's eliminated from the playoffs to beat a team that's 10-2 gearing up for a run.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just where we at with the Giants, guys. I mean, until they prove they can they can know how to win football games, I can't pick them to win.
Doesn't mean we won't
But
watch.
yeah. But Sunday night, Washington Commanders, another huge disappointment in this NFC East division this year, considering the season they had a year ago. Washington Commanders are taking on the Denver Broncos. Where's this game at? Is it out in Mile High? Let's see. Where's it at? Where is it at? They're in Washington. They're at home in Washington. They'll be down at. They always play at home. They're always at home. It seems like for some reason, but okay, in Washington, hosting the Denver Broncos. One of the best teams of football coming in. Washington is one of the worst teams of football right now, and there, Jaden Daniels is back to practice, but it looks like he's not going to be on the field on Sunday night either. Like he'll be out for his third consecutive week. Adam, what's your thoughts on this one, man? Sunday night football, the Washington Commanders, Denver Broncos.
I would definitely not put him out this game because they're going to be hunting in that game. I think there's going to be a bloodbath for Denver. Similar to what the Lions did to Washington. I think just Washington is, they're going to be able to, move the ball here and there with Mariota, be competent on offense, but they just don't have the talent on defense to stop the nosebleed right now. And that's been the case with a lot of these NFC East teams. Their defenses have not been very good, and we'll find out they're coming off a bye week. I think coming off a bye week, right?
They are. Yeah, they're coming off a bye week.
They'll probably look prepared, right? But I can't go against a team that's cruising like Denver, who's, again, going to look at this game like we cannot let up. We have to beat a team. Bring in a backup quarterback, that's a wounded animal. These are the type of games that teams that we want to call them trap games. Fine, call it a trap game, call it whatever you want. You got to find a way to get a victory, and I just think Denver's gonna do it on national TV, make a statement, just like what Houston did on Thursday night.
I agree. I just think Denver, they just rolling, man. Denver, they're rolling, man. This team is, they're not necessarily all the prettiest to look at, but it's damn effective, man. Everything they do is effective. And Bo Nix. Let me tell you about Bo Nix, man. This is a guy that people just love to just, Bo Nix ain't this, Bo Nix ain't that. Yeah, Bo Nix, he's a fucking winner. He is a fucking winner, guys. He wins football games in the National Football League for his football team. And when he plays at the best, he plays when the lights shine the brightest. When the pressure's on, you get the best version of Bo Nix that you get. Bo Nix is like, he's got that cool demeanor. He's not flashy, but it just works, man. I don't know why people give this guy such a hard time. They just want to give him such a hard time. And all he's been is effective. Out of the rookie class last year, if you redrafted that, he's gone before McCarthy and Penix easily.
Oh yeah.
It's like not even up for debate. The other three will still go ahead of him. Sure, right. The other three would still go ahead of him, but he's gone before the other two guys that got picked ahead of him for sure.
Probably number one in this draft class. If you were to draft him this past draft, he's probably going.
Oh, absolutely. He absolutely would have been number one in this draft class. Absolutely. If he was out there. I agree with that. So people just gotta chill out. I think the Denver Broncos are gonna win this game. I think coming off the bye, Washington is gonna come out and get their ass absolutely handed to them at home by the Denver Broncos. I agree. A bloodbath is a good way to put where I think this game is gonna be, Adam. I think Denver is going to just smother the Washington Commanders on Sunday night, man. It's going to be as bad a game Sunday night as it was this past Sunday night with the Buccaneers and the Rams. That was an absolute terrible football game. I think we're going to get an equally as bad football game again, man. A very lopsided affair. But let me say that's Washington. We got Friday, Black Friday, while everybody, people out doing their crazy shopping. There's going to be a football game on. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the what's they call the Chicago Bears, the monsters of the Midway, man. This is a big game. I think when the schedule initially came out, nobody realized that this game was going to have the implications that it now has, man. This is going to be a big one. I mean, this is seeding involved in the NFC. The Chicago Bears leading the mighty NFC North Division right now. Who saw that coming? I'm gonna tell you who saw that coming.
You did.
Mac the Giants fan saw it coming. Go back and look at Premium Takes about a couple months ago before the season started, and we did our preseason picks. Chicago Bears right up there in the mix with me, babe. I had them right there in the mix. Didn't have them winning the division, but I did have them in the postseason. Sure, they still got work to do. They ain't there yet. But this team has been very impressive. Caleb Williams looks like the #1 overall draft pick now that he is playing lights out. It's costing me in fantasy football because I got him and Lamar Jackson on the same team, and I keep playing Lamar Jackson because I'm scared to put Lamar Jackson on the bench, and Caleb Williams keeps outperforming him, and I'm feeling like an asshole right now because I lost 2 games in a row, and that's been the biggest reason why, because I just keep not playing Caleb Williams. I don't know what's wrong with me, but that's a whole different story. Sorry for that. But this game here, Adam, what you got? What you got on this game, Adam?
Well, before that, no Mets goes. He would not be the #1 pick, Bo Nix. I think he's better than the 3 quarterbacks coming out of the draft. He was ranked higher than all 3 of those guys coming out. So I don't know why he wouldn't be the #1 pick with what he did at Oregon going into this a weak quarterback class. You don't think that he would be #1?
He absolutely would have been, man. I disagree with you, Adam. He would have been #1. To me, he came out with way more heralded, more heralded than Cam Ward, way more.
And Jackson, all those guys.
And Jackson Dart, Shador. Well, Shador was 5th round pick anyway, but Tyler Show, he was the 3rd quarterback, right? Pick was Tyler Show.
Yeah. And Jalen Monroe, like I think he's picked at least, if he's not picked at 1, he's definitely probably picked 2 at least in this draft. So if you don't want to be #1 overall, we'll get technical, he'll be in the top 5. How about that? Does that work?
He would have been the first quarterback pick, regardless. I think he would have been the first quarterback pick on the board.
If Bo Nix is in this draft, Cam Ward is a Giant. I'm just saying that's probably what happens. Right? If Bo Nix is in this draft, Cam Ward's probably a Giant. But anyways, I'm just I don't agree with that. But it's okay. We can agree to disagree. But for the Bears, it's a huge game for it's a huge game for both sides. The Bears, because they won a game against a winning team. So we want to see them legitimize that. We want to see them build off of that, build off of the momentum you got, right? Beating Pittsburgh. And then let's be honest, Pittsburgh's a, good team, right? Whether you like them or not. They're a tough, gritty bunch. And what were we saying about the Bears a few weeks ago?
See, being criticized for winning football games? I'm sorry, Adam. I don't understand. You criticizing the guy because he wins? Okay. That makes sense. All right. Back to you, Adam. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Listen, no, Mets. It's okay. We can agree to disagree. But like I was saying, the Lions, we want to legitimize it. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we said when they beat the Giants, we got to see them beat a team that's good. Well, now they made a team that's good, and now you get the Super Bowl champs. Right, coming to your building, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you're going to Philly. Either way, you've got to now prove that you want to take hold of this division and possibly beat a team that you may or may not see down the road, right? Depending on how the playoffs shake out. So, all I'm saying is that I want to see them win. I have a hard time picking against the Eagles to lose, another game like that. But if you're going to beat the Eagles right now is the time to beat them. So you know what? I'm going to go on upset watch right here. And I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears are going to upset the Philadelphia Eagles on Black Friday.
Oh, I agree 1,000% with you. I'm right there with you. I think that that Chicago Bears, they're just kind of on a roll right now, man. They're fine. They're the opposite of what the Giants. They find ways to win football games. It's not always the prettiest throughout the court. Like on Sunday on Pittsburgh, they had their struggles during the course of the game. But when it came down to the nitty-gritty, man, they found a way to dig deep. Against the Giants the same way. It was a struggle through most of the game against the Giants. But when it came down to the come down, they got it done. That's kind of what this team is built on right now, man. Ben Johnson's done a tremendous job. And the Eagles right now, offensively, they they're just confusing to me.
We're
So
not
I,
overstepping against consensus. We're going against the grain of what the consensus is saying. We
yeah,
agree that Bo Nix is good. Max studied Bo Nix last year. Trust me. He watched film of the guy.
I wanted Bo Nix.
He studied that guy. He would tell me about Bo Nix. Did you see this game? Did you watch this game? Did you look at this play? Like I studied Bo Nix as well, and I knew that he was in the realm of quarterbacks if we could get him. But if he was in this draft this year, put him against Cam Ward in the conference that he played in Oregon, yes, he's light years going to be better than Cam Ward, who played 1 year in the SEC. I mean, 1 year in the ACC and played over in the Big 12, I think, in Washington, but didn't have the same. This guy went from Auburn to Oregon and lit it up at Oregon. Okay, so I'm just saying it is what it is. But
no, it's like I look at it like this. This is my example because you kind of went down this rabbit hole now real quick. Well, Bo Nix, okay, he was number 12 overall pick or something like that? Something like that, 12 or 13, something. He was in that range. Okay. Overall pick now. He went in the first round, got picked in the first round of a draft in which 6 quarterbacks got drafted in the first round. And he was still like number 12 or 13, whatever, overall pick, whatever it was. That's where he got picked at in this draft, in that last draft. This past draft, 2 quarterbacks went in the first round, and one of those guys, Jackson Dart, the Giants had to trade back into the first round to get. So otherwise, who knows if he would have even been a first round pick.
And by the way, Dart, I know we're going off a tangent. Dart wasn't even rated that highly, right? I told people to pick him in the third overall if you needed to, but he wasn't even rated that highly. Right? People were saying, oh, he plays in a gimmicky offense. He can't do this. He can't do that. Oh, he's a Mormon. He's not going to be able to handle New York. Right?
I personally wasn't feeling the Dart as much as like other people were. Because I didn't, from what I saw, it just didn't seem like, is this going to work in the NFL like that? Totally be a like, and I'm very impressed. The kid just shut me the fuck up. He's the truth. I'm glad we got him. But the point is, when you talk about the way these quarterbacks were rated, that was a generational type of quarterback draft a season ago. It wasn't nowhere near the same this year, as we see what these guys are doing. I mean, Dart is head and shoulders above all the rest of the rookies this year right now. Head and shoulders above all the rest. There's nothing else there's not even much to talk about in any other guys, to be quite frank. Whereas in the last year's draft, you got 3 guys that are 3 guys excelling.
You just don't want us to have our own formulated study that we thought this guy was going to be better than he is. And you're trying to say that experts on TV, by the way, which is produced, which you don't know if they're really breaking down that guy for an agenda for the show, can't tell me now that Cam Ward and these guys who wouldn't have been even drafted in the first round of the draft that Bo Nix came in would even be. You're telling me that Bo Nix would be not drafted. I'm sorry.
That part right there, like I said, he was the 6th quarterback pick in the first round of that draft class, and it was still a top 15 pick. And he was the 6th quarterback that went. Like I said, to me, none of these quarterbacks would have went ahead of any of those 6 guys.
And if you redraft none of them would have. Jackson Dart would be the number 1 overall pick if you were to watch the redraft now because of what he's doing. Obviously, it's history, but people take what if we say we like a guy and he gets picked in the first round, he has some success, and we're saying, oh, we like him, but you're like, well, the national media doesn't like him. That means you guys are wrong because the national media don't like him, so you can't be right because you don't know what you're studying. Like, give me a break. I watch football. I have formulate my own opinion, and I'm saying Bo Nix, if redrafted against this draft in this draft class, would have been highlier touted than Cam Ward. That's just what would have happened. I'm sorry that burst your bubble. That's what probably would have happened.
Yeah, so I mean that's all. That's where we are. I just it's all good. The opinions are respected around here. It's just that I just feel like I agree with Adam on this one as far as Bo Nix is concerned. I think he'd have been a top quarterback in this draft if he was in this draft class this past year. He would have been a top, just coming out from everything.
Every week we have this debate. No Mets. Listen. It's cool, bro. You don't like Bo Nix. The expert don't like Bo Nix. We don't know everything.
I like Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix.
Mac likes Bo Nix. It is what it is, man. Like I'm tired
Bo
of
Nix wins.
Always getting into these like, well, the experts say. I know what the experts say, and I still did my own research and came away with that Bo Nix would be better than Cam Ward. that's in this draft. But you don't want to believe that. So it is what it is, man. It's time
Even when those guys were ranking the quarterbacks last year, and I pretty much amongst those top 6 guys, most of them consensus had Bo Nix number 6, where he ended up being drafted amongst those guys. A lot of the guys, I never had Bo Nix there. I always told you what I wanted. I told you who my guy was. Straight up, it was Bo Nix. I would have been very happy with Bo Nix, and he's a winner, and he's showing that he's a winner in this league. But I don't know why we got all the way off the topic right here.
We can't have so Dart was a second rounder too, bro. Go back and rewatch all the stuff. He wasn't projected going the first. He really wasn't. He got drafted high. So Nix got drafted high. I'm just saying, look at the mock drafts for Jackson Dart as well. So but if you redraft the draft now and were to go back in there, he would have been number 4 instead of number 6, and he would be probably number 1 in this draft. Just saying.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all fun. I love it. It's fun around here, man, having these discussions.
He's in this draft. It was in this draft class. We talked about Bo Nix being drafted in this draft class. So in this draft class was a second-round pick, just like Bo Nix was. All the fucking pontificators and experts were saying it. So in this draft that we're talking about now, that Bo Nix being drafted in, I'm saying the draft with Cam Ward, who you're comparing him to against Cam Ward, yes, he's in the discussion as well, Jackson Dart. So my point is that in this draft, Bo Nix probably is the number 1 quarterback going into the draft.
That's the point we're making. I think maybe technically he might not be number 1 overall pick, because maybe whoever Tennessee or whoever else it would have been would have went different direction at a different position, but would have went different position maybe. But he would have been the top rated quarterback in this draft class. I'm sorry, he was rated higher than Cam Ward coming out. Cam Ward was number 1 in his draft class because Tennessee was desperate for a quarterback, and he was the top quarterback prospect. That's the way it works. But he wouldn't have been rated higher than Bo Nix. From what I saw, he wouldn't have been. But that's fine. We're on to something we shouldn't be on, because this is an NFC East show, and we talking about Bo Nix. What is going on, too, though? Happy holidays to you, my brother. Good to see you as always, man. Always a pleasure, man.
I misremember. I'm always misremembering. I guess we're forgetting. You know what? No Mets. You're right. You got this, bro.
I mean, I'm not forgetting how I felt about. I know how I felt about Bo Nix. It's on record. It's on record how I felt about Bo Nix. We can go back and look at the tapes. We can pull the film up. You know how I felt about Bo Nix last year before the draft. And
I didn't study the quarterback class for 2 years. I don't know what they say.
But we're talking about Bo Nix. I think you said you had the Broncos for the win, right? Yeah, you actually had the Broncos. Oh no, we're not even on that game anymore. We already moved on to the Eagles and the Bears. We both had the Bears too. Okay, I'm sorry. We got so far down.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the Bears as well. I don't like what I see with this Eagles offense and the way the Bears are playing right now. I just think I'm sticking with the hotter hand right now, and I think that's the Chicago Bears, man. I get you, no mess. I think I see what you're saying, but it's all good, man.
We're talking about what the teams did. That's what, not our feelings as well. We also know.
Yeah.
Let's go on. You're not understanding what we're saying. That's cool, man. It's all right. Dallas Cowboys. I mean, yeah, Dallas and Kansas City, right?
Yeah, we got the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow hosting the Kansas City Chiefs on CBS. That's gonna be the dinner time. That's gonna be the dinner time game, guys. The dinner game right there.
The Giants are playing this year, so I can enjoy my dinner.
The Cowboys and the Chiefs, man, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs. This game looked on paper like man, they brought the Chiefs in to bust the Cowboys' ass on Thanksgiving, but I don't know. You don't know. These two teams right now, the Cowboys look like they're playing a little bit better football than the Kansas City Chiefs, man. How you feeling, Adam? Well, I already know how you feel. You already said that earlier. How you feel? Say it again.
I feel like the Cowboys have a chance. A lot of the Thursday night teams have a disadvantage because they're coming across country, and sometimes you can get them because of their body mechanics, and the timing difference. You might be able to get them, but Texas is not that far. But I think they'll be able to get up on the Chiefs. I just think the Chiefs' offense is similar to the Eagles, right? It can score, but also has trouble scoring, right? They're not the same prolific offense that they once were. And I think the Cowboys, if they can keep Dak Prescott upright, big if with this Kansas City defense, I think they'll be able to score some points. And I think defensively, they'll be able to make some stops when they need to. I don't know. I just think that game for the Cowboys, the way that they're feeling, I think they're going to take that momentum into this game. And not that the Chiefs are not a good team. They're fighting for every game that they're in, right? They're scrapping and clawing to stay relevant. Who knows what's going to happen to them? But unfortunately, I see them losing in this game just because I just feel the Cowboys circled that Eagle game on the calendar, put a lot of energy into that. They finally got over the hump of beating the Eagles, and they can see a path to the playoffs, hopefully, right? And maybe they'll see, maybe they'll make it, maybe they won't, but it starts here. You beat the Eagles. Now, if you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you just beat the two teams that represented in the Super Bowl last year. You can start to build some confidence, and then when you have your 10-day layoff going into your next game, you'll be able to kind of, get some guys back and right the ship. And if they can get through this game against Kansas City, which I think, remember, Cowboys are ridiculous, like 21-2 at home. They're absolutely a ridiculous team at home. And I think it'll play in their benefit. Jerry's World comes through again, and I think it'll be a fun game. It's the one game I'm looking forward to as well. I mean, all these games I think are going to be fun. All three of them. Detroit, obviously, then Ravens, but
Detroit, Green Bay. Yeah, it's a big time matchup too.
Which is there's a funny stat here, right? Detroit played on Thanksgiving yearly, right? Every year they played back, I think, starting in the 1930s or some shit. And then one day the NFL was like, does any other team want to kind of play? And the Cowboys were like, we will. And so then the Cowboys also now play on Thursday night. And America's team is now always featured. So that's why you get those two teams. Just thought I'd throw that little nugget in there that I heard, which was kind of cool.
No, I love nuggets. But Tudo, man, I'm definitely going to pray for you and your squad, man. I wish you could be home with your family for the holidays. But it's awesome you out there having a successful season. And I wish you all the best, man, for sure, man. But yeah, I'm. This is the first one. This is the one where I'm going to be a little bit opposite of you, Adam, a little bit, man. I think the Cowboys are going to cowboy this one up. I think a little bit, man. They're coming off a big emotional victory on Sunday against the Eagles, man. Short week, Chiefs. Short week is we're dealing with the short week situation as well on the road. They'll be on the road, not playing the kind of football we're used to seeing the Kansas City Chiefs play. But I think that the Cowboys are they're going to come in here and maybe be a little flat, man. I know they shouldn't be considering the stakes and what's potentially on the line here, but it's the same for both teams, man. The Chiefs, the Chiefs, they needed to win that game on Sunday against the Colts, and they need to win this one equally as bad. They need to keep their playoff hopes alive. This is the closest we've seen them from falling, falling. Right now they are out of it. Right now they're not even in the playoffs right now. They started this weekend, for instance. So, but they obviously can still play themselves back into it, and it's going to start. They got to really string some victories together. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to come in here. We're going to get the version of Patrick Mahomes that we've grown accustomed to throughout his career, and we're going to see a very sound football team that's going to be a little more prepared to go out there in a big spot. I think than the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas Cowboys are going to find a way to cowboy this one up, man. I'm impressed with what they did on Sunday against the Eagles, but I think that's going to lead to them kind of spiraling a little bit out in this one a little bit here. And if CeeDee Lamb can't get his mind right, you can't depend on George Pickens to just go off every single week. I mean, yeah, but you can't depend on that every week. You got to, at some point, other guys got to step it up too. So I think they kind of run out of juice a little bit this week on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. But we do got to get ready to wrap things up a little bit. I do want to say something before we leave. Get out of here. Hey, obviously, first of all, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday with your time you spend with your family, friends, loved ones, everything, whoever you spending the holiday. Enjoy it. Be safe. Make good decisions, as always, So enjoy that. But also, I want to, Hall of Fame balloting once again in the mix. Eli Manning qualified now, moved on to the semifinals. Look, it's going to be an uphill battle for the guy, man. But at the end of the day, as New York Giants faithfuls, man, let's support our guy, man. Do our best. We don't really have a voice in this. We don't have any voice. We have no effect on the voting process. Obviously, I do wish we did, but we don't. And I kind of understand why you wouldn't just have fans randomly voting for something as important as the Hall of Fame. But with that being said, it's this semifinals list, man. I don't know if you've seen some of the names on this list, man. It's impressive, man. I feel like two of the spots are already 2 spots are already taken. 2 spots are already sewn up for all that are going to obviously get their gold jackets this year. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald. Come on, there's no denying those guys. First ballot Hall of Famers right there. Those 2 guys are absolute first ballot Hall of Famers. They're getting their gold jackets. So that's maybe only at best maybe 4 or 5 more spots left, guys. Out of about 24 other guys, and there's some very, very good names on this list of other very well deserving guys. So I mean, much as we want to see Eli get in that hole, if he gets in, it'll be a pretty impressive feat if he makes it in this year as well, because some of the names on that list are just undeniable Hall of Fame talents as well.
Well, they got to do this, right? I'm not trying to have a charity case for Eli. I think he deserves to be in it. But if you put him in it, some of the guys that you're talking about will probably get in the next class. So, like, if you know a guy is going to make it in, Eli might not have that. They're not gonna. He's not going to have that luxury, and unless he gets a weaker class, he'll be a first. He'll be in there, but I don't know, man. I would put him in now and just get him in there with his brother, who's already. I think his brother's already in.
Absolutely.
Put him in there. He deserves to be in there because he's more than. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald was great, but you're getting Larry Fitzgerald because he was an ambassador of the game. He was the Walter Payton Player of the Year award. He won 1 championship.
He was a hell of a player too, man.
Right,
hell of a player.
No, I'm saying but there are other guys with very similar stat lines to him that have not won a Super Bowl who are not as as respected as he is, and he's going to go on not just because he's a good player, but because the overall human being he was and humanitarian he was for the game. Eli, I feel, brings a lot of that as well, and I feel like I hope you can you put the person as well in the Hall of Fame, because those are some accolades: being a Man of the Year, winning a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Those are good things to have in your resume, and not many other quarterbacks in the history of the league have had 2 Super Bowls. So I feel like a guy like Eli should get in. Maybe no mess is right. They'll make him wait. I don't understand what for, but he's also in the media. He's doing a lot of things on TV. The guy deserves to be in. Put the man in already, so I can go to Canada and watch.
It's just that there's some names on that list. You gotta pull the list up and look at the names on that list, man. It's impressive. It's a back. I feel like it's a backlog on the Hall of Fame right now because the talent has been so immense in the league over the course of the last X amount of years that you're getting dogs out there, man.
All right, put 10 guys in. Why do we got to make this? Because if Eli waits, Eli might not get until we're like 60, 70, and he's in the alumni category. Where they're like, oh, here we go, Eli Manning on his walker going into all of it.
It kind of be like Sterling Shepard last year, finally getting in, after so many years on the ballot. I mean, yeah, Sterling Shepard, Jesus Christ. Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard. Well, you know something I don't know.
After all those years of being on the ballot, it finally got in, man. And I hope Eli doesn't have to go down that road. Art Monk was another guy I remember years ago when it took so long for him to get in the Hall of Fame.
Harry Carson, same thing.
Yeah, so I hope Eli doesn't have to go through that kind of a wait, but it is seriously there's some serious names on the list. I mean, like I said, you got guys like, it's just good, got a lot of talent. I can't even remember all the names right now offhand, but it was like, wow, it was impressive. It was an impressive list, and these are just the semifinalists. So a lot of these guys are going to still get trimmed down too before we get to the finals, to the finalists. So it's rough. It's going to be rough, but we'll see, man. Well, I wish him the best because Eli, to me, people can say what they want. But he's a Hall of Famer, true, man. It's not even just like you said, everything you just said, Adam. But like I said, also, it's just the things that he never got credit for. Like, I feel like people still to this day don't give Eli the credit for being legitimately one of the best clutch quarterbacks to ever play this game. People still don't give him credit for that. People act like gloss over it. Like they don't know that when it was a 2-minute drill, there was hard pressed to find somebody better you wanted that ball in their hands than Eli Manning. It was hard pressed. Eli Manning could run that to perfection most of the time. And most times it failed because of the cast around him, not him. Eli was always ready when the lights was on, man. When the pressure was on, the bigger the stage, the better Eli was, man. And to me, that says something. And then also the longevity, man. Longevity to be able to play and not miss a game your entire career. The only game you didn't play was because your dumb coach benched you for Geno Smith. That was literally the only game Eli Manning missed his whole entire career. Come on, man. Just they don't make them like Eli no more.
No, they don't.
No. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be tough, but at the end of the day, we're just gonna move for our guy. Just want to throw that out there for the holidays, man. Thanksgiving, happy everybody. Adam, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here, real quick?
Besides being thankful for being on this earth and my family, I'm thankful for Eli Manning giving me 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime of watching a football fan. So, boom.
I know everybody feel differently about Eli. It's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. At the end of the day, Eli gonna always be. He's always be a humanitarian. Always gonna be a great guy. And we all know he had a great NFL career, man. So no matter what, the gold jacket, it would cement it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't validate it. You know what I mean? We know what he accomplished. We know the kind of player he was and the kind of person he was. So that's all I got to say about it. End of the day, happy Thanksgiving to you too, No Mets, man. Appreciate you coming in, bro. Most definitely, man, and appreciate everybody. Tudo, Mosley, whoever else was in here. I don't know if anybody else was in here today, but yeah, just Mosley, Tudo, and No Mets. But you guys, thank you guys coming in, supporting the stream at this earlier time. But we got to get out of here. Me and Adam got things to do. I got things to do, and then we got time. We got to spend time with the family, man. And it's that time of the year, man. Everybody, happy holidays to everybody. And we'll be back next Wednesday at our regular scheduled time next Wednesday, man. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. It's your boy Mac the Giants fan. That's my super dope co-host Adam Costas.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MACDA Giants fan.